Look within. Look within. Look within. And live your life. And live your life on the edge of two worlds. A reality where you find true understanding of who you are. Take the step into the unknown with Alexander McKeag and Jason Rigby as they explore the thinly veiled world of consciousness, spirit, and the human condition. Join them in embodying the oneness of all. Walk the cliff's edge between the seen and the unseen realities. Welcome to High Density Living.
Welcome back to the Dreamweaver edition of the Higher Density Living podcast with Alexander McKeag and Jason Rigby.
I love this. You know, one of the things that I think is so cool with the episode that we did last week on dreaming is we kind of went through your journey.
That was a quick amount of time last week.
Yeah, we did an hour podcast, And so we're actually recording it now.
Yeah, but that was the fastest week of my life. Oh, my God.
We're doing 2 episodes in one. But I want to do a second episode mainly for the reason, Alex, you had brought up some really good ideas as far as being real practical.
That's what it's about.
So I think we kind of gave everyone the idea. Let's kind of do a synopsis, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
With the 45% and all that and kind of go over it.
Great. So the quickest way to recoup what we talked about last week is that we spend about 40 to 45% of our entire life in a sleeping state.
Right.
But we only choose to take and learn our lessons from our waking state.
Right.
And it was our contention, and what I have done in practice is that I take that 45% and I do what I can to learn with it, to understand the unity of my consciousness and that other creative playground that teaches me the lessons I need to learn and how I can employ them on my waking life also.
So basically what we went into was to understand that you have 45% of this life that you're doing nothing with. So can we understand that
Jack
both
shit.
How can we understand that both are reality?
Right.
And that you can learn just as much in your dream state as you can learn in real life.
Right.
And that your dream state will teach you so much, and the dreams that you have that are reoccurring, and we're going to get into that today,
right,
are the dreams that need to teach you the most that you can learn from.
Correct.
And so I kind of want to get into, we took an article from online. It had all these different types of dream, like common dream types.
Big time.
So
what do we got here
looking for? And I wanted to ask you questions on each of them. We know, number one, and this article talks about this online, but number one, that we need to, it says to pay attention to our dreams.
That's a big theme.
Mm-hmm.
Paying attention is a big theme.
So what is, we can all say that, paying attention to a dream, but what does that mean?
Paying attention, what that means is recording, right? Whether it's taking a mental record, okay, and looking at the details and being like, what happened here? Let me analyze this. Right. Or we're going to take a physical record. We're going to write this down and I'm going to review it later so that I can pay attention to it.
Like actually taking the time to write it down, or for me, maybe doing voice recorders.
Recording.
And then typing it out later.
Some sort of method.
I thought about the voice recording thing because I'm doing this for 30 days because Alex challenged us all to do a 30-day challenge to record our dreams. And I thought, well, in the morning, first thing I'll do is I'll record it.
Yep.
And then when I have time, I'll go back and listen to it and then type it out.
Cool. And then you get 2 chances to reflect on it.
Right.
Right.
Because I wouldn't be able to go back and find patterns.
No.
I'd have to listen to each one all over again, you know.
Correct.
So I need to take the time to type it out. But some people like to write it.
Some people like to write it. There's a better connection for them that way.
Right. I just want to get those details right when I wake up.
Right. So and that's that first step that we got to take. All right. And so you're talking about most common dream types. What does that bring us to? You know, what do we have on here? What's our article say?
So kind of the most common dream types. It starts off. It says there was a Harvard study found that people spend almost half their waking hours in a daydream.
Is that because we're so fucking bored with everything going on? You know? No, but here's, we talked about this.
Like half your waking hour. So you're sleeping 45%, and then the other 55%, half of that is in a daydream?
Daydreaming, yeah, that's insane. So that means way more than 45% is in this unlimited conscious world, you know, of creativity, right? Imagination. And imagination, for so many times people say, well, that's just not real. It's imagination. You've made it up. Well, I can make up things that make me happy or sad. So it's just as real as any other experience, right? So frankly, it's not true at all.
It's not true at all because you could have you could have a guy that you're in a relationship with, not us, but
Can you? I don't know why you came out with that theme.
Why do we have to take the need? See, this is a distortion.
This is a distortion.
Why do I feel like I need to justify?
Why do you have to justify
that
it?
I'm heterosexual. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have.
I don't
to, no
care
matter
if you're
what
into
you are.
dolphins, because you were talking about dolphins last episode.
Yeah, I even made the noise.
Yeah, you were even making the noise. I don't know if that's what you fantasize about.
Yeah, I attract them.
But by all means, like
That's my daydreaming.
My daydreaming is
daydreaming dolphin.
I stand on the coast and I flag them in. Come to me, my darlings. Yeah, the waves. Yeah,
I'm like, oh, and I'm like Aquaman. With the sonic thing coming out.
Jason in the blue sea.
Like the old school Aquaman.
Yeah, just full sonar coming out of your head. You know,
I'm just attracting. I like ride on them.
Yeah, sea turtles are coming out.
I use them for skis.
Yeah. No, I didn't go to REI. I just grabbed myself a couple of dolphins.
Yeah, that's all you need. Just
yeah,
a few dolphins, you're fine. Puffer fish action.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Yeah, listen to the last episode.
After I'm done water skiing, I can just get really messed up.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so daydreaming. And they said that daydreaming, it's the mind wanders beyond the physical, causing the dreamer to appear in a trance-like state as their attention focuses on the inner fantasies of the mind.
Right. It's an attractive place to be. It's an unlimited place, right?
Right.
So when you're off, you're daydreaming or you're imagining things. Mm-hmm. That's just a waking state of thinking about some other higher form, right? Another place where you can learn from. Because you're like testing things. Like, I wonder what that would be like. You know, they show in movies like some guys like pretend he's making out with like some chick or something like that. You know, that state of daydreaming, and then they cut back to him in the school classroom. Well, what he's doing is he's experiencing.
I love those 80s
they're great
movies.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, with all the crazies. The hairs was what was amazing.
The hair was wild. You know,
dudes' hairs were better than women's hairs.
Oh yeah. Didn't you feel like everyone had like pin straight hair though? Pin straight bowl cuts and stuff though. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, and the girls all had like the curly, stringy hair. You know.
Yeah, super. Yeah,
things have changed dramatically.
Yeah, what's going on with us?
I know.
Where'd your hair
now
go?
We're into my hair's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there a vegetable I can rub on it or something?
I don't think so.
It's beyond the point.
Cucumbers.
Too much beer. I wonder if beer causes hair loss.
I don't know. I think beer. I think it has to do with the hormonal thing.
Is it just poison?
No, it's a change in your hormones because you grow a thick beard, right?
Right.
So it's a hormonal change. Instead of growing out of the head, it's going to grow out of the face now.
Yeah, and it just keep creeping down lower.
It'll creep down lower instead of going high to the sky. It just keeps going lower.
The dolphins will accept.
Yeah, the dolphins will accept.
So when we're in this daydreaming state, we're creating a reality, even in that daydream state.
It is a reality,
and we're putting emotion.
Yep.
We're putting feeling, thought.
Yeah.
There's a process.
Intent,
yes.
Big time intent, you know? Because you find, and this is, I find sad, is that when a lot of people go to their jobs, they're bored out of their mind.
Right. Yes.
You know, they do it for reasons of what I call security, but I think that's...
trading time for money. Yep.
Time for money, right? But there's nothing secure about that. If anything, that takes away from what it means to be a human being. But that's besides the point. But that is a place where most people tend to daydream, right?
Right.
As you get into this sort of repetitious pattern, but there's nothing to learn from. There's nothing to reach into some other world where you can find out who you are even deeper because there's no other catalyst. That becomes the catalyst of change for you.
Right.
Right. So if you are going to be a daydreamer, well, let's focus on the daydreams. Let's see what the daydreams are telling you. Right. So
do you feel like you, even now with recording your dreams and you being real proactive in that dreaming state, do you feel like you daydream less now?
No. I feel like I dream more.
You daydream
My dreams
more?
are richer, whether it's during the day or at night, right? The way I can structure an image or a picture in my mind is a lot clearer. It's not as diaphanous. And when I say diaphanous, it's really foggy, right? But now it has much clarity, color, it's rich. And now I've begun to smell things through the dream, which is something I've never experienced before.
Right.
And this is a new thing for me, where
all your senses are becoming alive.
I can smell salt water. I can smell the fishmonger market at a harbor. You know, like if I was trying to describe some really strong smells,
right? I
can smell that.
So like you were talking about in the previous podcast, where you were having to learn in these moments. One was in your home and the other one was in
the ocean.
At the ocean, you can smell all that.
I can smell all that. And then if you're talking about daydreaming, I was back in Massachusetts and I had an event that happened to me. I was looking at leather shoes online. Okay.
In a dream or
no? I was just looking over them. It was I was on Doc Martens' website, and thank God they have vegan leather, right? So I'm kind of amped up about it. So, but I'm on there, but I could smell leather looking at the image, and I was in shock because now I'm bridging that level of imagination, what my mind is actually perceiving,
right,
with something that it actually remembers, which would be that smell of leather, right? That tanned hide.
Well, I've had that experience with, and maybe some of you have, like you've gone out with a girl.
Okay.
Making sure that's clear.
Yeah.
We gone out with the girl, whatever, and I get like whiffs of her perfume.
Big time.
And she's nowhere around.
She's not even
no one
there.
else is around. It's just.
You ever walk through a house and you just get perfume or some other place?
Yes.
It's so delicate across the nose, right? But you're like, where did that come from? That feeling, that sensation is how delicate a dream is. So we're so used to, like, if I were to pinch you, you know that physical pinch. But what I'm talking about is a very delicate world, right? A very creative, very unlimited world that is dreaming, but it's very delicate. And being aware of those things that happen, those senses, requires a high amount of sensitivity. And building that bridge happens with paying attention and beginning to record on those dreams.
You become, it's like in any part of self-awareness, you become more sensitive to things.
Oh, you're more in tune.
Right. Like the other day you were sharing a story with me. I don't think you'll mind me sharing it, but you were starting to get angry with your girlfriend.
Right.
Because you went hiking.
Yes.
And this is self-awareness at its best. But instead of like right before you're getting ready to say something silly.
Before I'm going to just like snap, I'm like, wait a minute, this is not necessary. And then I can check myself because I've been through this before and I begin to learn from it. And I know the emotions that are beginning to happen, but wait a minute, this isn't right. And I'm not mad at her. Right. I'm mad at myself. That's really what's going on. Right. And so I had to check myself. Right. Before I wrecked myself.
I love it.
Right. And I did. And I checked myself. And then she began to explain it. And then as I went through, I wasn't trying to be indignant or mean or anything. But then it helps me understand it from her perspective.
But further. Really, basically, you were just hungry, right?
I was just hungry. Yeah.
So, and they have a name for it. It's like hangry.
It's hangry. This was 9 miles and 3,000 feet of elevation. I'm a little hangry.
Yeah, you're a little hangry. And so, but to be able to stop before you say something stupid.
Right.
I think, and it's the same way to make a bridge. It's the same way when we're dreaming. The more aware we become of it, the more that we are able to, because we talked about this in the last podcast, and this is so important. Your dreams can control what you view, a lot of people view as your reality now. But
Big
the
time.
dreams are just as much a reality as the real world.
Right.
But you'll start seeing them cross over and then they will guide you.
Right.
Because it is you. You have everything that's inside of you.
It's not the dream guiding you, it's you guiding yourself.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, wait a minute, I got my hands back on the wheel now.
Mm-hmm.
Before you
Jesus,
just
take the wheel.
Yeah, Jesus, take the wheel. No, but before you were drifting, but now through practical steps, right, which we'll talk about, you can start to figure out how to recognize the dreams,
right,
expand upon them, move into a lucid dreaming state, right, record and learn from these things that are actually happening.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, when we are having this ability to look at any reality we're in, and have learn, teach, learn, that's the state that we want to be in.
Yeah, and it's the most fun sort of schooling you'll ever go through.
Mm-hmm.
School's lame, dude. You've dealt with egos, bullies, all this other crap that has to happen, right? Scorecards. There's no scorecard. It's not someone telling you, oh, you did a great job or a bad job. You just begin recording the dream. Even if it's not very good quality, it'll get better over time. It will get
better over time. It's the same as in your personal life, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
In your personal life, like the other day, I had a situation where I had a choice to have this negative emotion.
Yeah, and what did you choose to do?
I caught myself.
Nice.
And I said, how can I display love right now?
Dude, that's a big step.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that it's the funnest game that you can ever play.
Of course.
And when you're learning and you're going through this process, you're, if you want to say ahead of me, your journey is different than my journey, but I feel like, I'm learning from you a lot, Alex, but it has helped me tremendously because now I can look at a situation that's happening and not perceive it as negative.
It's never negative.
No, it's never
Nothing
negative.
that is ever going to happen to you is negative. It's only if you distort it to be so.
Yes.
If something happened, if someone rams the back of your car and destroys it and it's a brand new car and you can get out and you can be all hot-headed and pissed off. Well, hold on a second. Let's take for a moment just to say that maybe I'm supposed to be in the situation. Maybe I'm supposed to learn. Maybe when I usually blow my top, this is where I'm really supposed to learn how I'm going to check my emotion. And this application of something that's such a charge to me, I can now apply to every other thing I do in my life. Right? So no longer was a bad thing. Insurance is going to pay for it anyway.
Yes, exactly.
Unless you're riding around illegally, riding dirty, but apart from that, who cares? It's just a car.
Yeah.
But beyond that, you've learned something great. And now you can take it and apply it.
And you can get to a level to where
here's the best part. Talk about that other individual.
Where that other individual that hit you can actually teach you something.
Big time. And they come out and the last thing they want to do is get yelled at. They know they've made a mistake by ramming into the back of you, and maybe, you befriend them. Maybe it was someone you were supposed to meet. Or even worst case scenario, maybe they get mad at you.
Yes.
And then that's for you to learn even further.
Yes.
When you know they've made the mistake on both ends,
right?
You forgive them for doing it both ways because they just don't know any better.
Yeah, because that anger that's inside of them is also inside of you.
So that's exactly right. So diffuse it.
Right.
Overcome it with a higher energy.
Right.
And now apply that higher energy to everything else you do.
And when we look at dreams, it's the same way. When you look at that dream, and I want to kind of get into, we talked about daydreaming.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to get into a little bit more on, these. So there's one called psych dump dream, and it's the subconscious.
Sounds healthy.
I know, psych dump dream. Think of that one. And this one is a psych dump dream is a subconscious mind's way of cleaning house. These dreams explore your fears and often play them out to conclusion, which helps to release your awakening mind from their harmful grasp.
So playing something out to conclusion, which means you maintain focus on it. Okay, so your PTSD that we talked about in a previous episode.
Yes, I think this is really important because there's a lot of people that are having, and we'll get into nightmares.
Those fears, those sweats. The psych dump bridges, and it has parallels with nightmares.
And I think a lot of it, what they're talking about is that because they say you don't realize that your subconscious mind is recording everything you experience.
Everything that you experience, right?
And that subconscious mind is more active.
Very active. Yeah. So now I've got my consciousness playing with my subconscious that has recorded all these things. Let's clear it up, right? But that requires a sense of focus. And how does that focus happen? How do you clear that PTSD? You record it. You look at those emotions. You review them. Mm-hmm. You understand them. You let them go. You understand that those emotions are not the dream. They're not the event that happened to you. It is you yourself. And are you going to take that step through recording and paying attention to overcome that energy? Are you going to be like, am I going to continue to feel this post-traumatic stress disorder?
And be some type of victim to it.
Yeah. Don't, and there's
label it via victim.
And there is no victimness.
No.
It's, you're the victim and you're the perpetrator at the same time.
Right.
You're your own worst enemy at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And once you begin to understand that distortion of perspective, you can overcome it and be like, okay, I'm willing to focus on this thing that I'm actually scared of, that causes me this emotional and physical pain.
Right.
And I'm going to focus on it hard. And I'm going to realize that this thing no longer has control over how it's going to make me feel. I am going to determine the outcome. I'm going to determine how I frame that in my life. And whether that's through a psych dump dream or a nightmare,
right,
these are the things you need to focus on.
Yeah, and they say a lot of it is these psych dump dreams that there will be nonsensical mixes of image, and they'll have a very lack of logic.
And you want to know why? Because logic is our physical 55% of our waking life. Mm. But you're talking about this imaginary field of conscious thought that has so much color and vibrancy and creativity.
Right.
It's not a place that is defined by logic. It has no sense of time. It lacks that sort of structure, right? But it's all teaching you these lessons that need to be there. And it's amazing that the subconscious can talk with your consciousness to be like, okay, we're taking a world that has no logic. But I can still understand it, and I can work within this world. I can work within a world that doesn't sit in this reality that I think that I'm really living in. And that's frankly amazing.
And I think you can, there's allegories to it. But what I liked about, they said this one, even though it may lack logic, you have to really pay attention. The recording is so beautiful because the scenarios and the symbols.
Archetypes.
Yes.
So a symbol is an archetype. It's a large generalized theme that you need to look at. And with your dreams, right, and we'll start in progressions, you'll see that it's going to start with larger themes. And then it will build into specifics once you start to pay attention further. Once your quality of your recordings and your repetition and your recall becomes stronger. And it doesn't get worse over time.
It gets better.
It gets better. So as you do it a lot and say you stop doing it for a bit and you go back to it, it is just as strong as the day you left it. That's what's interesting about consciousness itself. That understanding, that feeling never goes away. It's like when you first felt love and someone broke your heart, you'll never forget that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're doing the same thing with our dreams. right? You never forget how to do that thing.
But you have to have your heart broken to experience love, and you have to have love to experience your heart being broken.
Right? It's reflexive, though. It's all one, right? There's no difference between the both.
Right.
It's just how we distort it to say it is different.
Yeah, exactly. Next one is, we're going to get into this one. Next one is body communication dream. And this one is, I think it's more on the physical side of thing, but they're saying that, and I want you to talk about this really quick.
Cool.
I'm going to make a statement, then I'm going to let you take it from here. They're saying your body has its own intelligence.
You bet it does.
I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Okay. Every cell in your body has memory to it.
Mm-hmm.
Every single biological cell in this body. It has a genetic code that has developed over a long period of time to have specific memory to it. You know how to walk. Your body knows how to take a shit. It knows how to piss. It can do all these different things naturally, biological functions.
Right.
That requires a certain type of memory, a subset to do this, right? It knows to grow your nails, have your hair grow, how to move your eyes, how to deal with light, how to adjust the pupils. It has intelligence to it.
Right.
Every single cell, all the way down. It knows how to heal. It knows how to heal itself.
We haven't figured that out.
No.
That part of our body.
No, the thing is, the body knows how to heal. We just don't let it heal properly. We frame the reference of our mind, and I'm going to talk about the possibilities of this. We frame in the reference of our mind that we can't heal a wound or a broken leg without going to the hospital, right? We can't just think about it and fix it back into place. Well, here's why I would contend something like that. 40 to 75% of placebos in current FDA stage 1, 2, and 3 testing have the exact same, if not stronger effects than the actual physical drug being taken, which shows you that the mind itself has the ability to heal the body, or not fool the body, but help the body understand that it has its own ability to heal, whether or not it knows it's placebo or not. All it knows is that I'm taking something and I'm convincing myself that it will heal me.
So through that layer of convincing,
yes,
is where. But the placebo is tricking, if we want to use the word like that.
It is tricking.
It's just a sugar pill or whatever.
But then what does that tell you? Is it the pill that's actually healing you, or is it the mind that heals you?
It's the mind that heals you.
Right.
It has to be with that.
So
if that, in which it's done, they've done it over and over. They always have the placebo effect in all the studies.
Every single time. That's why it's still there. But it's the most untalked about thing in Western medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my point. If we're looking at a placebo, consider your dream being the placebo. Here's another bridge, because we were bridge builders in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
That dream and you recording it is the placebo. You have the ability to heal the body through that dream, because that thought, that emotion, that change, that charge can change the physical memory of your cell to heal yourself. It can bring about a life and a vibrancy and a vibration back to what you otherwise did not have. And you can see that. And we'll post all the material and the referenced scientific works to show you that that is absolutely possible.
Yeah.
And beyond possible becomes a fact.
Oh, yeah. It's a fact. So, and one of the examples that they use is you can be like dreaming, searching for water, and you can't find any. Only you awake and you're like super thirsty.
I'm wicked thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
It's because your consciousness is telling you these things that need to happen, right? Or I don't know. I don't know what an example would be, but say your teeth are falling out.
But they use a good one, like you had a dream feeling like a bug was crawling in your ear, and then, you wake up, or a day later you have an ear infection.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, how do I take these things to look at, wait a minute, what's going on? Maybe there's a connection. And then if you're recording them, you can start to recognize, okay, if I got a bug crawling out my ear, I can probably jump on the fact that I'm probably going to have an ear infection and start dealing with it ahead of time proactively.
Right.
And now you're making proactive decisions rather than being reactive.
Right. And because most of us just look at sleep as a necessary evil that we have to do.
It's like, oh, I dread it. I got to go to sleep. I can't get my work
We're
done.
hanging out on our phones till midnight, and then finally hits us in the head.
Yeah. It'd be great if everyone could find the joy in sleeping that I find.
Right.
Beyond just the fact that my body's resting. Cool. That's great. I'm glad the physical part's resting, but man, do I get to learn a lot.
Yes. And I think that's this new higher density level that we can all take and learn to say, hey, here is an opportunity for me for 45%. I'm fixing to gain 45% more than I ever have in my whole life. That's a huge learning curve.
Talk about putting the odds in your favor.
Oh, yeah.
When the odds were out of your favor, you're now really pulling it all back in.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's 45% of you that's been missed.
Yeah.
Think about how your character would change as an individual, right? You become 45% more of the person that you weren't before. That's a huge chunk.
That's
That's
a
like
huge
saying I
chunk.
just got 2 of my legs back.
Plus, I think it gives you the possibility to understand that everything is inside of you. So as you begin to recording, you're seeing that play out in real time.
Big time. Yeah. And having it all inside of you just shows you the connectedness of everything.
Yes. Nightmares. Want to get into that one?
Yeah.
These ones that are terrifying that we have, as a little kid, we grow up. Let's start there as a child, and the next thing you know, there's this scary monster chasing us.
Right. That's a playground for education, is it not?
Yes.
Because when you're talking about emotion, that's a big thing on children. Children deal with emotion. They don't really have a sense of logic at first, right? It takes a while to build that. So when you talk about the emotion, we're like, okay, we're dealing with nightmares. Well, that's a very quick and kind way for your consciousness to teach you.
Right.
Right? Because children understand the emotion. A nightmare, that could be a fear.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if you were teaching children to focus on that fear, to understand what is going on so they can learn quicker. Then you start building some real pathways, some real emotional development of the children.
Yeah,
right?
where the child is being able to handle themselves, then running into mommy and daddy's room.
Right.
And having mommy and daddy help them.
Talk about a platform for growth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And what a great thing to be teaching in schools, to teach children how to record their dreams. Kids always wake up and talk about their dreams. Oh my God, I had this dream.
They know them. If you could do that at a younger age, because they remember their dreams.
Beautiful, vivid imaginations.
Why does that process just scale so down that we don't remember our dreams?
Because we program ourselves in our perspective that it's no longer a thing of importance. But to them, when they're born, it's so important. Remember, people are like, well, don't take that away from the kid. It's his imagination. Right. No one says it to him. Don't take that adult's imagination away.
Right.
When's the last time you heard someone say, don't take the adult's imagination away?
Yeah, imagine Steve Jobs is not having an imagination.
Come on. Yeah, it doesn't. So it's just
Picasso
exactly. And it's just how we've constructed our society, and we move ourselves into this realm. No one pushed us into it.
Right.
We just choose to think and act and operate like that, when really operate more like a child. Right?
Yes.
Find that freedom, that sense of innocence, and respect what your consciousness in the dream state is really trying to tell you.
Yeah, and stop believing in the distortion.
Don't believe the distortion, because that's what the true illusion is.
Right.
And the reality is the real things that you're dreaming and your body is telling yourself, right? Listen to it. And no one else is telling you otherwise. It's not like somebody else has to sell you on it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of nightmares, as far as whether it's connected with the label of PTSD or it's connected with, being a child and monster chasing you, or I know I've talked to a lot of different women, and they have nightmares where like a guy is in their home and, breaking in, and they can't talk. People have shared that one.
But think about how that applies to other things in life. Is it a sense of a lack of power when it comes to a male energy? Who knows what it is? Yeah. And imagine if they overcome that in the dream. Imagine the strength that woman would have at that point. The empowerment to realize this person doesn't have control over me. Mm-hmm. I have the choice. I have the power. I do these things. Right? And I should realize that I'm the one that is handing them that power, that illusion that they have control. And that may be one of their nightmares.
Yeah, or they can just get a 9mm, but
or they can get a 45. Yeah, or 45 and protect themselves that way. You know what I mean? But it's that focus.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's having that focus on the thing that you want to drive away and close your eyes and turn away from it and just let it continue to consume you.
But I think it would be so easy when you're seeing that, and then like I've heard people say they can't speak, so that male energy, and then you feeling like you don't have a voice.
Big time. They all match. They all share these parallels, right? And different things may happen in the dream. They're holding you down. You have no strength. You can't get out of it. You can't speak. There are all these different ways to show that there's some sort of...
Or being raped or something like that.
Some power dynamic that is happening, right?
Right.
And I've never lived these experiences, so I'm talking about this from a hypothetical thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
But from a sense of learning from the self, focus on these things, right? Because it may help you overcome these fears that you find in your nightmares.
Yeah, and then finding ways to empower yourself.
Big time.
Through the recordings of these.
Right.
Because if you're experiencing the same dream over and over again, and it's just different faces of different males.
Yes.
Then you as you're recording that, you're going to start learning from that.
Oh, you really
make those connections.
You pay attention and be like, there's a lot going on here. I got to make this connection.
I mean, we made a connection for you, but the best way that you can make the connection is for you to record them yourself.
Absolutely.
And go into that dream, not be fearful of it.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the steps for recording?
Yes.
Unless they got anything. What else they got on here? They got the shamanistic one, I think.
Yeah. I mean, no, let's go. I feel like this is nightmares are really fear-based, and a lot of people are very, will wake up restless. They have these nightmares. So let's just do the recording right now and we'll get into the other ones. But so let's say I had a nightmare, and I'm a woman, and I live alone, and I had this really scary dream. I couldn't talk. Guy comes in, he breaks into my house. Worst thing happens possible.
Right.
He usurps power over me, and I wake up and I'm crying.
Sure.
Let's talk about recording.
Right. So the first thing we're going to do is record. The moment you wake up,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have your means to record, whether it's you're going to speak about it, okay? You're going to write it down, or you're going to, it's either share, or you're going to share it with someone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have three different things. You have two are personal, or one you're going to share with the other.
Right.
Okay. What that's going to cause you to do is you're going to put focus and attention to this one thing that was causing you some sort of pain or trauma, right? Some sort of distortion in your life. And I want you to start with only the descriptive things. Tell me about the environment. Okay? Like you're drawing out a storybook. If you want to tell me about that scene, we're going to start with simple stuff, right? What were the colors that were happening there? Okay? Were there a lot of people? Did they have a face? How much detail was involved? Right? Tell me about how you emotionally felt. Don't worry about the words that are said, right? Tell me about the emotion of the interaction, okay? I'm interested in the color and how you feel. Let's deal with that first.
Let's break these down. So, okay, I'm going to go with hypothetical situations because I feel like this is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, let's do it, yeah.
Right where we're at. Okay, so color. So it's gray, it's black, it's raining outside, it's dark.
These aren't colors that make you happy.
No.
So right off the bat, here's a theme. There's our first archetype. Gray, dark, cloudy, maybe it's outside, really low lit, right?
Right. The house is dark.
Not a lot of vibrancy.
Right.
Record that. There's step one. What's our step two? What's the next part of the dream?
You said where I'm at.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm at home. I had just got off work. It's late. Or I just went out and had some drinks with some friends, and I come back. It's late at night. And then this guy breaks in.
Guy breaks into the house.
Yeah, stalker.
Boom. Let's start with that then. Okay. So it's really gloomy, right? It's not a happy environment. And I'm back at my house in this sort of weather that is happening, right? So I'm in a safe space, but I have this description of my weather that's going on. So I've recorded that I'm in a safe space, and I've also recorded that this is what the outside is. Now, in my safe space, somebody breaks into it. This thing, this person, this entity, whatever it might be.
And let's say this person, every time I have this, I really can't really see a face very clearly.
You can't see a face.
Right.
All right. So then you begin to record that, and then you begin to realize it's not a specific person that you're giving that energy or that power to.
Right.
What it is you have the major theme, say it's a male, you're giving that power to all the males that you come into with your life, right? And so you got to record that. You have to record the fact, that detail, right, that they're lacking a face. And then that's it. Maybe that's all you remember for the day. That's your very first recording.
But even as this is hypothetical, but even as I'm thinking this, I'm thinking like you said, I'm giving power to all males. Maybe I'm allowing males into my safe space.
Right.
And there's certain type of males I shouldn't be allowed. They just can go on and on. Your thought process.
Right. And so say you don't, but you can review that, right?
Right.
So you're like, okay, I understand that emotional charge. I was in my safe space, but it was kind of gloomy outside. So I know that feeling in my gut.
Right.
Well, next time I go to meet a male and I'm going to decide whether or not I want to bring them into my safe space, do they have that? They give me that same emotional charge that I felt in my dream? Maybe I should avoid that.
Or and so then you recorded that dream.
Yeah.
You have another one, but this guy, right when you're getting ready to walk in the door, he busts in the door.
Yeah,
and then hits it really hard and knocks you to the ground.
Sure.
So now you have that whole of this. Now you record that.
And it's a different theme. And you may have, so now we have two dreams recorded.
Mm-hmm.
They may share the same sort of weather and color and safe space, but now there's been a slight difference in the individual, right? The variance in what they're doing, right? So now it's either become a stronger charge, right? Or another lesson that needs to be learned among that, right? How to deal with the physical part of it. So not just a person standing there, right? Making you feel bad emotionally,
right?
But now they physically hurt you.
Right.
So now here's a second theme and archetype within the dream that we're focusing on.
With males physically hurting
With males physically hurting you. So now we have two things in our theme. Okay. Letting males into my safe place, and I have to deal with them emotionally. How am I going to deal with my emotions and how I view them and what their effect is on me, or letting them affect me? And then two, how do I deal with the physical nature of having a male there? Right. These are two things for you to focus on. And now you can go and reflect and, okay, now that I'm paying attention to this dream, what is it I learned from this scenario? How is it if I were to live this dream over again, how would I handle it the second time? Right? And that's going to handle the recording. And now say we've done this for a month straight, right? You become a little bit better at it. Now you've recognized the place that you're in. So you're in the dream and you begin to recognize, okay, there's a couple things going on here. I know, going to bed, that you continue to tell yourself, and here are a couple tips. I want to know that I'm dreaming. Say that to yourself over and over and over, and just keep repeating that one single thought until you fall asleep. Okay? And then when you're in the dream, it'll put you in a place, and the subconscious, because you've been telling it over and over and over, it's recorded that last part of the day, that it wants to know that you're in the dream. Now, here are a couple things that you want to look for. So say you're in a room, right? Your safe place, your house, your childhood bedroom. You know where absolutely everything is.
Mm-hmm.
Every secret stash is stored, every picture frame on the wall, Barbie doll, G.I. Joe, I don't care what it is.
Right.
You know where all those things are. Trophy.
Go Joe. Yeah.
When you're in the dream, analyze the room. Look at it. If something is out of place, recognize it. And the moment you bridge that recognition that something is out of place, the subconscious melds with that mind, that sleep state, and knows that, okay, I can control this now.
Mm-hmm.
I can determine the outcome. I understand that this is a dream. Now you begin to learn from that area.
Because you have to pay attention to those things. Let's, third dream, 2 weeks later, I'm walking out to my car.
Yes.
And a guy comes up behind me and steals my purse or hijacks my car. Well, what type of car were you driving?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. And so you're in a different scenario now.
Well, let's pay attention to those details. So when you're recording it, begin to look at those details. Expand upon it. Do not impose any judgment on it out of the gate. I ask that you just record the dream for what it is.
Right.
Whether it's uncomfortable, it talks about ex-girlfriends, or you're doing something that you would otherwise seem immoral, and you're like, I probably shouldn't write that down.
Right.
Write it down. Okay? There's no good or bad or ugly in this, okay? This is just you and your thoughts, and it's you for them to take them in, learn from them, and let them go.
Right. Because even at the end of the day, you'll be able to you're going to get I think that's a great one. So, we made a joke at the last one. We had a dream and we were sleeping with Bill's wife.
Yeah, Bill's wife.
Well, yeah. So you write that down. You may change the name to protect the innocent. Maybe that'll make you feel more comfortable. Don't.
I ask you to record it exactly how you perceived it.
Perfect. Because I want people to get that part.
It took a lot of trust and respect, even with my girlfriend I have right now, to explain to her what happens in dreams when I dream about ex-girlfriends. Most of them don't want to hear about that stuff.
No, they don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear about it at all. But what I'm doing is there may be some emotional charts that I haven't fixed from past relationships that I still need to continue to learn from. That energy of that individual is still imprinted within my consciousness. I'm still connected energetically, and I need to learn from that, right? So record it as is.
I've had that before where somebody in the past and they've dreamed the same night I've dreamed.
It's wild, isn't it?
The energy, yeah.
It's the energy. Here's a shared moment. I had a dream that I was in a classroom teaching. Whatever it might be. I record it. I turn over and ask Amanda, what did you have for your dream? She's like, well, I was sitting in this classroom watching you teach a bunch of people. We shared the same experience in a conscious realm for two different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing.
That's amazing, yeah.
Right?
And so when you're recording these, okay, so something immoral, I slept with Bill's wife.
Whatever. It's not immoral. Listen, don't frame it like that. It's not immoral.
Okay.
It just happens.
Right.
Just let the thought happen. Let the creativity occur. Do not impose judgment on it.
So no judgment. So just write I mean, obviously not going to get into every detail, but
yeah. I don't want to get
it was amazing.
I don't want to tell you how much I liked it.
But so we get into that scenario, but then like you said, you maybe to just be real, I've had dreams about people I've worked with,
Sure, it's
all
okay.
Kinds of stuff.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. And so, but when you start recording it and thinking about it, even me just thinking about it right now, then there's some logical approach.
Sure.
That I can play with that when I do go to work and see that person. Instead of feeling guilt or shame.
Right, because you had thought about it. There's no longer there.
Yeah.
Understand that it was a structure, and maybe there's something about this person that I do like, and I'm searching for that in my life, but maybe they have a piece of it and it's telling me to focus on that.
Because if all is one and we love everyone,
yeah.
And so I obviously would love that person if I'm in communication with them daily. And
or love them for that one thing that they do.
Right. So that may be a form that the way that my mind worked out love.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Don't judge the dream.
Right.
Record the dreams for a while. Don't record one and be like, that's it. I've decidedly so. I'm not doing this anymore. This is how it made me feel.
Take the 30-day challenge.
Take the 30-day challenge. Give yourself the opportunity to go through and learn about you.
Yes. Yeah.
No judgment. Look at the patterns and try to understand what you are telling yourself. Right?
I like that. Right.
This is about learning from yourself. Yourself is teaching yourself to learn from yourself. It's an insane reflexive process.
And through this process, it's going to give you, as you're asking for these dreams, it's going to give you dreams that you're going to have to learn even more. So stuff may go crazy in your dreams.
Yeah, of course. These are just the catalyst becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you're in a direction where like, wow, I've learned a lot.
Because now you're opening something that before had been a closed door.
You're now open to this other reality, right? This other sort of truth that is actually happening. And you'd be like, there's a lot more possibilities that can happen in here that can come down to this very physical grounding world that we live in, right? And we can start to apply these things. And so what's another key thing that I look for in my dreams? What I always found was difficult was looking for my reflection. What I found is that the difference between me being in a lucid...
Like a mirror reflection.
A mirror reflection.
Like to be able to walk up to a mirror or to a window or...
yourself in it. That is usually a defining difference for me when I recognize that I'm in the dream and it's very lucid. Because I can actually see my reflection within that dream. That's the point I know I'm dreaming. Right? And I have control over that dreaming. If I don't have control over the dream, I usually can't find my reflection. I usually don't recognize nuances in a room, right? There's just a theme that plays out. But don't force it. Just understand how to perceive the dreams better, and that comes through recording and paying attention. And then the things like lucid dreaming will come second. And then you begin to recognize things that are in your recurring safe spaces, look for the small changes, so that you know when you're in your dream state that this is a dream. And you can talk to yourself that way. Let the conscious mind speak to the subconscious.
Because people are thinking like, well, I got to make sure I do this at night and I got to get up and do this. Yes, it's so important because we rely so much on external stimuli and then we get so caught up in distortions that we never take the time to internally reflect on what is the only teacher really that we have, and that is ourselves.
And that is yourself. No one can ever tell you to accept something. You accept it. So focus on the internal stimuli. Focus on the stimulus that you create so much day in and day out. Don't ignore it.
I like that.
Right? And let's pay attention to that. And that's where the real learning happens, right? That's where the magic happens for us.
So I want to kind of get into a little bit on, there's these dreams that we have that are occasionally that they talk about.
Okay.
And they have one, they'll call them epic dreams. It's usually very vivid, and this is the opposite. It's illogical, and you remember these dreams. They're almost like movie-like adventures.
That's why movies are designed the way they are. So if you look at the archetype of a movie has the general themes of the hero. Okay? This person comes in, they go to solve a problem, they go on a quest, they find themselves at the bottom of the valley, things are dark, not looking good, but then they persevere and they come out at the top. That is the theme of every major movie that's ever done well in Hollywood.
Yes.
But that theme, that idea, it came from a psychological study of archetypes of the mind. That's why Star Wars did so well. What they're doing is they're mimicking these epics that you and your ego and the conscious mind are dealing with internally. Because what happens? The hero has to learn a lesson, right? So that they can overcome whatever this thing might be.
Yes, I like that.
You do this in your dream. This is the epic dream. So as you begin to record these epic, you become your own Homer and the Odyssey. Right? You are the Iliad itself, and you need to focus on those things.
Because we're all going on a journey.
We're all on a journey.
Hero's journey.
A hero's journey, right? And we're all on the hero. We're all our own best hero.
And this is our mind opening up and teaching us something about the journey that we're on. That's what these epic dreams are.
We've chosen to be on this journey, right? We're here. Whether you believe it's by choice or not by choice or just frank probability, well, guess what? Everybody dreams. You cannot deny that fact. You cannot defy the fact that it's an experience either. And you can't deny the fact of scientific evidence that consciousness sits outside of the body. So if you combine all those three things and you realize that, hey, I'm here on a journey and I'm here to learn, well, let's do it, no matter how epic that journey might be.
Yeah, and I think what I've noticed and what they talk about in the article, and I think it's so important, is they say it opens your mind to the amazing adventure your waking life can be.
It can be. That's exactly right. We are self-limiting. We limit everything that we can possibly. We are unlimited beings.
We even made laws to limit us.
We even made laws to limit us, but we're truly unlimited beings. We all come from the same place. We're all interconnected. We can think and create. And Hell, if you go to Russia, you see that they have whole universities for just moving things with your mind.
Yes. Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
That's not a deniable thing. That's a fact. You can sit around and watch people move very light objects with their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We limit ourselves in what we think is possible. When here's the true fact of it. You don't know what is possible until you die because you haven't had the full breadth of experience. And when you're dead, you can't share it. So it's really tough to know. So why even limit the possibility, right? It's just people telling you that's not possible. What the hell do you know?
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know.
Right. Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
Do not let someone ever limit your mind or your consciousness or the things that are possible. Don't ever let anyone squander your creativity or your imagination or that childlike wonder. Those are the things of beauty that teach us that innocence of this world for why we're really here.
And that's what gives you, when you're in those states, they call it flow or whatever, that gives you the most power.
That is the most power. You are self-empowered.
Mm-hmm.
That is the power that we all have, but we choose to needlessly give up in some sort of illusion.
Yes, because it's all an illusion.
Yeah, it's not real.
No.
No one ever takes any power away from you. You always have had the power.
We choose to believe in the law of gravity. We choose to believe in
the laws of the United States.
Right.
We're all just
Right.
being like, okay, I guess I'll abide by that.
Right.
But really, the government never had any control over you.
No.
You're just saying that they do. You give them that power. Are you kidding me? If we all stormed somewhere all at the same time, they wouldn't know what to do.
No.
No one has control over us. We just deem it out and create this sort of illusion, right? So recognize the power within yourself, record, and start with something simple. And the very first tact of understanding that is the other 45% of your life. And that's the dream.
I love that.
So I urge everyone to go on that 30-day challenge, record those dreams, and figure out what you can do with it. Move through that epic of what is you.
Yeah, and I also think another one that we can have is a problem-solving dream.
Oh, I like those.
And they said it can present itself in two ways. The first and most common is a logical and vivid dream that utilizes imagery to deliver an answer to a problem you've been struggling with in your waking life. The other is a lucid type dream where you actively work through and solve a problem while dreaming. So explain problem-solving dreams.
So problem-solving dreams. So it's, like I said, you're not going to be able to recognize that there's a problem unless you record it. Right out of the gate, you're not going to know, right? So if you're doing something at work that's been an issue, you can play out in this creative state of dreaming different scenarios to solve that problem, right? And they may play on their own, but you'll never know the outcome unless you record it, right?
Right, exactly.
But if you're an experienced dreamer, as you begin to lucid dream, you can do it all in one dream. You can play out all the probabilities in one dream rather than the course of a week. And that's the big difference, where you can then begin to make those choices, realize that, okay, I'm in the dreaming state. Let me start testing some things out.
I like that. Yeah.
Right?
And so one of the examples they were talking about is Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, how that they would solve problems in their dreams.
Oh, that's great. So I'm glad you brought that up. So Tesla, Edison, Einstein, they used different forms of meditation. So Tesla used to put his head, he would lay on the bed.
We're not talking about Elon Musk. We're talking about the
Nikola
original
Tesla, right?
Right.
The original guy from, I believe, Eastern Europe. He would lay on the bed upside down, right? He'd tilt his head back off the bed, and he would stare at the flickering candle. And it would put him into a trance-like state. And then from that state, he would let the information flow into him from this conscious realm, this ethereal realm, so that he can come up with his ideas, his patents for how he should deal with energy and these things. Einstein used to visualize in his mind, through a form of daydreaming, I guess you would say, was what it would be like for me to sit on top of this particle of light. Okay? And how does that move through space? What would things actually look like? So these people who have done these massive amounts of things for humanity started with this childlike innocence of listening to themselves,
right?
Of this great state of imagination. And then they took this non-physical creative consciousness world and they've moved it into the physical reality to bring great things for us.
And that's what you can do.
And that's what you can do. That's the power
Right.
of what can actually happen. And once you start to see the great people that have done that and you start to dip into their lives, you realize that this is not an uncommon thing. But some of our greatest things is when we recognize who we are and how we deal with that information that we thought was imagination.
Yeah, because I know Einstein, they said his sleeping patterns was, I think he slept 8 times for 45 minutes.
Fine.
Yeah, just so that he could stay in that.
You could stay in that state.
Yeah.
Because there's beauty that actually happens there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can begin to recognize and have an emotional charge and appreciate this state, right? Because I experience it day in and day out, and I absolutely love it for what it is. And I want other people to share in that love and experience that I understand, right? So that they can feel what I feel and really begin to learn. And hell, you may be sitting in an office having the most boring job, but you have a couple good dreams and something you should do. Maybe take a risk. Maybe you see a design for something. Well, go do it.
Yes.
Maybe that's what you should be doing, and you may have a massively positive impact on this world.
Yeah, you don't know that. Make it. They have a term for it now. It's called side hustle.
Do a
I think
side
instead
hustle.
of sitting there watching 4 hours of Netflix.
Oh yeah, screw Netflix.
And drinking beer or wine and every night to numb everything.
Yeah.
Sit there and work on something that is the most passionate thing. I don't care what it is.
I don't care what it is. Yeah.
Design. Maybe you want to design a tennis shoe, or you want to, do gardening.
Go do it.
Yeah, go do it.
Focus on the thing that really brings you bliss in your life.
Yeah, like you were talking about your girlfriend's brother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen, my girlfriend's brother, I look at him and I am amazed at this individual. Let me tell you why. He sleeps at 13,000 feet, anywhere from 10 to 13,000 feet, and he repairs the hiking paths all over the Rocky Mountains, right? He will cut the trees down, regrade the land, preserve these areas in these beautiful national parks so that people can continue to use it. Why? Because he cares so deeply about the thing that he's doing, what he loves internally. He wants to do something where he can share that love and that emotion and what he feels with other people so that they can continue to experience it.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, his whole life is just giving love.
And that's what his life is.
Yeah, and
when
to
people
make
are
sure that people are outdoors.
why would you want to live like that? Why would you want to live, in the car or in a tent or how much money to make? That's not important. What's important is that he can share in that passion and that love and that experience and then extend it beyond himself so that other people can live and feel the way he does.
Or he could sit in an office.
Or he could sit in an office and be bored. You know what I mean?
and make
then
money.
Who's really winning at that point?
Yes,
Who's the real human being at that point?
Exactly.
And honestly, I praise him for that. And I hope that he listens to this because, God bless him. He does a lot of cool stuff. And, frankly, it's dangerous sometimes.
No kidding on that. Let's get the next one. Well, he's saving people's lives too, because people
Big time.
fall off
Yeah.
of these areas. Then, there's some pretty
Make sure the gradients
areas.
And stuff's right. And,
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like the switchbacks, it's important.
You're also allowing people that may have disabilities and stuff to be able to hike.
That otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity.
Yes, exactly. So progressive dream. This dreamer will have the same dream in a logical order thing, consecutive sleep periods. Each dream builds upon the last.
So I talked about
content.
this. So what I'd found, and we talked about this in the last episode, is that with a progressive dream, I may have it on Monday, right? But then that dream carries on Friday from the last point I left off at. What an insane concept. I've had such a gap in time, but the archetypes and the theme and the people, the energy is still the same.
Right. We've
4
all
or
had
5
those.
days apart.
Yes. Exactly.
And that's the progressive dream, right?
Right.
And then you may find that you have multiple progressive dreams happening at the same time. So as you begin to record, you say that there's 4 or 5 different timelines that are happening within this dream, and then I'm living them all, and I experience them on all different points of the week. And I find that that's kind of crazy. And that bridges over into something that would be a recurring dream. And a recurring dream deals with the nightmares and the stuff we talked about in the beginning. And the only way we're going to recognize these recurring progressive dreams, these healing experiences, all these other things, is to start by taking it and descriptively writing it down without judgment. Okay? And that's waking up and making it a habit of the very first thing you do. You're not going to be good at it first. You're going to be like, why am I doing it? But guess what? It's going to teach you a lot about yourself. And I urge you to just push forward, push through that wall and begin to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you have to at the end of the day. I did a little video on that on my Instagram when I was hiking. But you have to push through the resistance.
You have to. With the point of discomfort. Mm-hmm. And that's when we talked about a nightmare. Most people turn around. They don't want to focus on that pain. Look at that pain. Understand it. Overcome it. You have to push through that wall because that is the highest point of catalyst in learning.
And I just want everyone to know you have the power inside of yourself to heal any pain.
Anything.
Yes.
Because that pain,
no matter what it is, if it's been plaguing you for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, it does not matter.
You put that pain there.
Yeah.
It's time for you to let it go.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah. You put it there and you've held on to it for that long. It's time to let it go.
That security blanket has to go.
Big time. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into, I think we're almost done, but we had talked about this a little bit.
Oh, shared dreams. That's a good one. Shared one. So I talked about that with my girlfriend, Amanda. Yeah. Where I said that I was in the dream, but we still viewed it from 2 different perspectives. Right. And it's beautiful. And then we start to see that all these interesting things can happen within the dream state. Right. Prophetic dreams. Like I said, if you begin to record it and you're like, wait a minute, like if you play something out at work and it's showing you this is what's going to happen, and that actually happens during the day, you're like, well, hot damn. I recorded that 12 hours ago and look what just happened.
Just happened, yeah. And in this dream state, when you begin to record them and you begin to see life playing out in this way, it becomes so amazing because you have to look and say, we're not just blogs of evolutionary process of meat.
There's something much more dynamic happening in between all of us. And the fact that those other people in your workplace are in your dream, it shows that we're all connected, right? Through that conscious realm. There is no separation between any of us. And there's no separation between what happens in the sleeping state as opposed to the waking one if you're having something prophetic. Because you have already seen it and now you're here in the reality experiencing it.
Yeah, and so I want to get into this one. This is going to be controversial.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
I think this would be a great one. Visitation dreams. So this is where you have, it may be, it could be an alien, it could be a departed loved one. The list goes on, but somebody visits you and it's very memorable, or something visits you. I've had animals speak to me.
Sure.
So I was not high.
No, it was not. There was no pufferfish involved.
There was
no dolphins.
No illegal substances at all. It's just I've had animals like talk in my dreams and stuff. But I've had beings, visit me, and I know we've talked about that before. What is a visitation dream?
Okay, so a visitation dream. If you're recording your dreams, most of them share the same archetypes. Okay, these themes, these people. But then you start to experience something where someone's out of place, where someone dead is there, right? Or some higher dimensional being might show up where you're like, wait a minute, you don't have the structure of a human being. Why does your face look like a bug or a reptile or all these other things?
Right.
Or why do you have wings like an angel? And then you begin to wonder, well, wait a minute. If my current scientific theory is that my subconscious records everything in my day and they say that's what determines my dream, well, I didn't see any angels. I didn't see some reptilian person walking around.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't see some praying mantis face bug come up and talk to me telepathically.
Right.
Right? And so then you begin to wonder, so what is actually happening now in this dream? So this dream has now moved beyond the subconscious archetypes that are happening, right? And there's a character and energy that shows up that is outside of my regular domain of perspective, how I view the world. And then it becomes a visitation. And then you begin to wonder, well, okay, why is this thing or being or creature or entity here for me right now? Consider the timing. When you wake up, look for a synchronicity during the day. Or realize that when the person came to visit you in your dream, they're a past loved one. Maybe it's on one of the anniversaries of their death, right? Because there's a lot of energy that surrounds that day with some sort of emotional charge, and you give that to them to come back to you.
Yeah, I had somebody have that on an anniversary of death, and then they felt in the dream they woke up from it after they visited him, and their grandmother had smoked, and they could smell smoke.
That's amazing.
And when they woke up,
yeah,
they could smell smoke in their home.
Remember I was talking about the leather shoe? I could smell the shoe?
Yes.
Same thing, right? And it's weird that this non-physical world bridges into our physical body, and we can smell these things. We can experience this energy. But no one is going to tell you otherwise that you didn't experience that visitation.
Right.
Whether you perceived it as an angel or some godhead or some reptilian being or an alien or a past loved one, no one's ever going to tell you otherwise.
Right.
But record that and accept it and leave it for what it is.
Yeah, don't
Do
judge
not
that.
judge
Yeah.
what
Right.
has just happened.
Right.
Understand the beauty in that situation, that it wasn't the subconscious mind recording my day. This was someone unseen from a place I don't know and I don't understand coming to teach me a much stronger lesson.
Right. And that's what it is. That person came to you as a messenger to teach you a lesson.
And I don't have to move into, larger personal experiences of myself,
Right.
but understand that that energy that comes there is something that is now out of place from the normal dreams that you have typically been going through on your epic journey.
And you want to make sure that you try to record that even into more detail.
Record it in
So
the
a
most
visitation
detail that you
dream would
can.
be-
Just let it happen.
Right.
And then as you record it and you think on it, you become more open to it. And hell, those visitations may happen more frequently.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And no one can take that experience away from you.
Right. Exactly.
And you may be learning something that is just absolutely fascinating. And whether you choose to keep it to yourself or share with others, that's on you. But man, be open to it.
So whether we view them as negative, visitation dreams are actually extremely, you want to use the word positive, but it's
a learning
amazing
experience.
It's a learning.
Whether, some people, there's a famous psychologist from Temple University who dealt with abductions.
Mm-hmm.
And abduction is the fact that people are thinking and they're being abducted. They remember being in a ship, right? It's not that it's necessarily bad, but that's an experience for them to learn from, right? Or a dead person comes to tell you something maybe that they couldn't get off their chest before they had gone. Maybe they've learned at a different time.
Right.
But we're stepping into a different realm right now, and I don't want to go too far off of that because I want to deal with the practical for everybody. But you may find at that point that just pay attention.
Right.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and I think so let's get into, I know we're getting pretty close here to being done, but let's get into the last one. And you had mentioned this several times, and that is lucid dreaming.
Right. Lucid dream is the color. It's the flying. It's the sense of freedom. Your consciousness is not bound by time or space, right? So if you're in a lucid dream and you're moving through this state of consciousness on how you depict yourself, you can choose to do things that otherwise in this material world aren't necessarily possible or defy our laws of physics. And within that lucid dream, the colors are rich. Your choice of movement, your ability to go to new places, this is your time to explore. And lucid dream is the highest state of creativity that you could be in, right? Because now you are really controlling the dream. You understand that you're in this world and you can determine those outcomes. You can play the dice, roll the odds, understand it without respect to anything else or anyone telling you can't do it. Absolutely anything is possible. And it's such a beautiful place to be when you're dreaming. And that is just a matter of practice. So whether you can jump into it right away or you remind yourself before you go to bed, I want to remember this dream, or I want to know that I'm dreaming, and you constantly remind yourself, hopefully you hop into it. Hopefully you get a little taste of it.
Right.
But then you begin to recognize
it. Would we say that's like the deepest of the dreams?
That would be one of the deepest of the dreams, is the lucid ones, because you're actually feeling like you're displacing your body somewhere else. You're actually in a different world. I've now left my physical body and I'm living inside somewhere else for whatever brief amount of time. That's the lucid dream.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to kind of because we need to come to a conclusion on this. I hope that with the first episode we did last week, and then this episode was extremely practical and we got into detail. Alex, what would if you don't mind doing like really quick steps of what they can do from here on out with a 30-day dream challenge.
Yep.
And then we want you guys to DM us, message us.
All I want you to do, okay, get a pen and paper or pencil and paper and a lamp. Get the phone out of there, get it all out of the way, no distractions. I want you to wake up and just write down the description of the dream. I want you to write down everything you can remember. Just write it down. No judgment, detail, and you may remember, I got to hop back and there's more details that I forgot. You begin to fill them in. You begin to remember them more as you begin to write out the details. Date it, write it down, put it away. Record it for a week, okay? Do it every single day after you wake up, the very first thing you do. And then at the end of the week, reflect on it. See if there's a continuing theme. Great. Leave it at that. Next week, start recording. Do this for 30 days and date every single one. And what might have seemed nonsensical, right? Now becomes something that starts to make sense. You start to see the patterns. You can't just do it once and assume it's an anomaly. Look and let it have its pattern, its wave. Let it move through those courses.
I love that. That's awesome.
Pen and paper, right when you wake up, turn the light on, write it down as quick as possible. Don't do anything else. The first thing you think about is recall the dream.
Right.
Detail.
And then before you go to sleep, make sure you say, I want to remember this dream.
I want to remember this dream, and just repeat it. Train the subconscious.
And that's awesome. Well, we're going to end this show with Higher Density Living. We encourage you guys. We have Instagram, Higher Density Living.
Yep.
We'll be streaming live from there here really, really soon. The website, we've been working on that, higherdensityliving.com. That's going to be up. And then, of course, we'll be having our YouTube channel.
Yep.
So you can watch us. We've got a camera going. We're recording these.
We can replay it all. Material, resources.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll start putting the resources and books that we talk about and stuff like that.
Big time. Yeah.
And I think it's going to be interesting as we move forward in this direction. We've got, how many episodes we've got? 4 or 5 out at least.
Actually, probably more than that now.
Yeah, probably more than that. Yeah. So we're going to get that right after this and organize some stuff, get it all in the Google Drive.
We got to put it up there. Thanks for the cloud,
Exactly. Yeah. But thanks, Alex. I appreciate you sharing this with us so that we can learn, teach, learn, and everything that we do. And we just want to always say we're all is one.
All is one. Jason, thanks for bringing me back down to reality.
Cool. Well, you guys have a great week.
Look within, and live your life on the edge of two worlds. A reality reality where you find true understanding of who you are. The learning is done. Become the teacher in embodying the oneness of all. Walk the cliff's edge between the seen and the unseen realities. Become a higher density being. Please go to www.higherdensityliving.com.